So we're here at Internet Retailer Conference and Exhibition 2008 in Chicago. I'm at the Fit for Commerce booth where we're going to talk with the CEO, Bernadine Wu, about the e-commerce platforming process and a few other e-commerce technology related questions. So Bernadine, thank you for joining us today.
Welcome.
So tell us, what do you think in 2008 retailers should be looking at? What's the #1 innovation hitting the market?
I actually think the #1 innovation and my #1 piece of advice is to go back to basics. There are a lot of great things out there, a lot of great bells and whistles. Everybody should be looking at them, but I think that you should always keep track of what your basics are. Make sure you're covering them and make sure that you're nailing those basics.
So what are the basics?
SEO, SEM, that your site is smooth, it functions well, people can check out with as few clicks, that your brand is coming across strongly, that you're using emails very well, that you're using trigger emails, and that your images are crisp and clean. I think the other kinds of stuff like 360-degree and rich imaging and blogging and so on is important, but make sure you cover the basics first.
Great. Now, the big thing that I hear a lot is e-commerce people who are re-platforming, not quite sure what process to take.
Ah, yes. Well, that's a question we get a lot. And I always tell people, you've got to do your due diligence. You wouldn't invest in a stock if you didn't do your due diligence. You wouldn't choose a job if you didn't do your due diligence, and it's the same thing. And by due diligence, I mean doing your homework. It means kicking the tires. It means asking all the tough questions. It means we have a list of 2,000 questions that we help retailers ask, and you've got to do that. It's like choosing a mate. Someone told me it's kind of like going on eHarmony, but that's important. And so I think, the devil's in the details. I've seen it many times where in a project you get in 3 months and oops, something wasn't there that if you had done a lot more diligence you'd have known before you got into bed with that provider or that partner, or even in your in-house staff knowing in advance. So do your due diligence.
Okay. And where does the RFP process fall into that whole thing? What's your take on the RFPs?
RFPs. RFPs are a little bit like religion. Some people love them, some people hate them. I think if done well, that they are the right thing. But the important piece of an RFP is your requirements and understanding what site you want. It's the whole, beginning with the end in mind. So if you've got your requirements written out, those 1,000 questions, or your really detailed specs almost of your website, and you've got a good idea of what you want, then that's your RFP. All of the providers that you talk to should be able to use those requirements and very quickly say you're a right fit for us, you're not a right fit for us, because it's very important to weed out the not fit or the misfits early on.
So when it comes to writing an RFP, actually creating requirements, do you recommend people work on that in-house, work with a consultant? How should they approach that?
Well, I obviously think that looking for outside help is important. And you know why? It's just like getting an expert in something else. And sometimes it's expertise that you want, sometimes it's extra legwork. We've all got businesses to run, and all the online businesses are very, very busy running your SEO, running your site. So I think using an outside party that specializes in this can really help you get the expertise, ask the right 2,000 questions, do the legwork, and get through the process as painlessly as possible. It is painless, so some pain management is helpful. And also, I think there's a little bit of some decisions you need to make beforehand, before you even talk to vendors, like what model is right for you, what's the right fit, what's the right culture. Should you go on demand, should you go licensed, or should you go what I call hybrid, which is sort of licensed but hosted. And there's a lot of choices out there, so yeah, get help.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us today. So again, we've been talking with Bernadine Wu from Fit for Commerce. And real quick, Bernadine, what do you guys offer retailers? 30-second elevator pitch.
We help you figure out what you need and where to find it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.